You've been pleased with the work you've gotten from Jordan, being able to take all the snaps and do the team stuff this week?
Yeah, it's definitely been beneficial just to get back in the flow of practicing, competing, making sure that his fundamentals are crisp, because when they are, I think, he's as good as anybody.
Speaking of fundamentals, he was still doing the handoffs wrong-handed or wherever you want to put it.
You're very observant.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. As a fundamentals guy, though, does it matter ultimately at the end of the day as long as the ball gets to where it needs to get to?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think everything matters, but sometimes you got to make do with what you can do. And right now, we're just in we're in that situation. Certainly, as we get closer to the game, we'll kind of, if it's still an issue, we'll have to adjust.
I guess, is there any drawback to doing it the way that he's been doing it to get by?
Yeah, I think there is, in terms of marrying some of your actions and then just running the risk. More than anything else, we want to make sure we secure the football, and you don't want to run the risk of putting it on the ground.
What about under center? He must take a good shot on that left thumb every time he gets the snap. Was that anything you looked at?
Not really. I mean, the ball should get placed more into your upper hand than the bottom hand.
So was he fine after practice? Or
Yeah, he had no complaints.
So what does today, you mentioned the scrimmage part of today. What does today look like as far as that goes?
10-minute quarters, and we're just going to play ball. And then, obviously, if we're not getting a certain situation, if it doesn't organically come up within the course of practice, we'll definitely create some situations.
Thought, I suppose, not live tackling it.
Do you want to see live tackling?
You're not going to watch anything.
You're right.
So.
You're not going to let us watch that?
Waller said he advised against it.
Matt, how much progress
Still
has?
training camp.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway.
How much progress has Golden made just over the past month in terms of everything that comes along with the receiver position?
I think a lot of progress. I think just when you go out and you watch him, the speed at which he plays, I think he's very decisive in what he's doing. And there's been some things that's come up over the last couple of days that we hadn't been doing quite as much during camp, that I'm glad we're kind of going through right now to work some of those kinks out. But by and large, I think he's got a really good grasp. And I think as we pare it down and really get specific into game week, it should be that much easier for him.
What are those things you're working out the kinks for?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
You have a lot of drafted receivers in that room, obviously. What was it that Malik Heath did to really separate himself and earn a roster spot this camp?
Well, I think we know what we can get from Malik. I remember I just was watching it 2 years ago, and he got more opportunities when we played Detroit, and he was making some big-time plays for us. He brings a physical presence to that room. He does a great job in the run game and making contested catches in the passing game. And then where he's really elevated his game is on special teams as well, and just the contributions he's been able to make in that regard.
How much in your evaluations does track record matter as opposed to what you see in an individual camp?
I think it's hard not to take that out of the equation, unless a guy's fallen way off. There is just past history does naturally, I think, creep into your mind. But he's had a solid camp.
Matt, who's going to be your starting left tackle?
We shall see next week. I'll let you know.
Is that decided?
We shall see next week.
Have you decided?
Maybe.
What's a determining factor? Is it more of a pass blocking thing, or who's going to give you the most?
I think anytime we make a decision, it's who do we feel most comfortable that's going to go out there and compete to the best of their ability and help us win. It always comes down to that. And, thankfully we feel good about a couple options.
Do you have any aversion to rotating anywhere on the offensive line, including left
No, I mean, that's been in our past, right? We've gone out there and we've played multiple guys. I think sometimes it can be good, certainly in terms of just the urgency of playing every play at a high level. I think it just naturally ups that. And I think it's just like a lot of D linemen. Most teams rotate their D linemen. And so you can kind of wear down an offensive line if it's just, fresh people rolling at them all the time. So there is some good that comes with rotating guys up front. The one thing that is always a concern is the continuity factor in terms of how those guys are working their combination blocks or getting off the ball together.
Kind of along the lines of
Does the matchup matter? I mean, you're going to probably face Hutchinson on that side, I would assume. He plays both sides, right? Does that play a factor?
Oh, always. Everything kind of goes into account.
You mentioned the chemistry and the combination blocks. Whoever starts at left tackle, how are they with Banks? Just because Aaron has missed a fair bit of time with him.
He's missed a bunch of time, and that's why these 3 practices have been great. He'll be out there today. It'll be the closest simulation that we'll have to game like. So, all that is important to get those reps.
You guys extended Matt Orzik this week. I mean, what do you thought of his body of work in Green Bay so far, and just having that stability too long term with the specialist core?
It's one of those things that you don't appreciate all the time. It's kind of when you don't notice it until something bad happens. And thankfully for us, with him there, we haven't had a whole lot of those moments. So I think Matt's done an outstanding job. I think he's an excellent snapper, and he's an even better teammate. And just he's a real asset for us.
I talked to 3 young players that made the roster yesterday. When I asked them about, is there a veteran that helps you out? They all named about the same 4 or 5 guys that I think I could have picked.
Who they named? I didn't listen to your interview. I'm just curious.
Who they named?
Yeah.
Jordan, Elton, Kenny, 1 or 2 more. But it's like the ones that I wasn't surprised. Josh Jacobs and X. And I came away from that just saying, does that just happen naturally? Are there things that the head coach does to foster that kind of situation? Do you go with the weekly captains?
Yeah, I think you're always trying to empower your players to take ownership over the team, and there's certain ways that you can do that. Certainly, that's one way is to have weekly game captains. We did form a leadership council this year, which we haven't done since my first year here. So, and a lot of the talks throughout the course of the off season was about leading, knowing that we were going to have still on paper a young team, just talking about the importance of that and how in order to lead others, you got to lead yourself first and do all the right things. So I think those guys have done a nice job of embracing that and then getting out of their own comfort zone to become real leaders of others.
Is having seasoned captains in the works for you this year, or is it
Potentially.
At the last week of camp, I think Bullard was playing a lot of deep safety. Was that just to get him, more accustomed because he had been playing so much slot, or do you think he's more of a deep safety than a slot now?
I think he can do either. So that's a benefit. There's a lot of jobs that are, I'd say a lot of the techniques that you do as a safety, if you're a down safety, are interchangeable with a nickel. So, you just kind of dual train at that all the time.